right, everybody. We have a very special guest today. Thanks for watching now or later. We're chatting with comedian Kelly MacFarland. She has been busy traveling the high seas on the cruise circuit when she's not opening for Kathleen Madigan and just traveling all over performing. And we have a chance to chat with her today. Thanks for your time, Kelly. It's great to meet you. I appreciate you. And thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. I feel like it's super casual. Like you've got
we are pretty casual. Yeah. No, pretty chill. I love talking to comedians, like I told you, not just because I am doing it on the journey, but I always like to talk to people who have started where most people start and are doing things that you're doing, like opening for Kathleen or just traveling on cruise ships. But clearly, that's not how you started. Do you remember when you first decided that you wanted to do stand-up? Was there a particular comic that was interesting to you? Or maybe mom and dad were watching The Tonight Show? I don't know. It's kind of different with everybody, and how the journey begins of such an odd sort of delusionally driven career.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard it summed up so well before. So yeah, I mean, it's a delusionally driven career. That's a really great way to look at it. So I grew up in a very small town in Maine, and I had like a funny family. I think that's always kind of like
Sure.
what everyone says, right? They're like, oh, my family was funny, and we were just encouraged to be silly. So I really kind of grew up just being ridiculous all the time and talking a ton. And I was in dance class and singing lessons and doing theater and all that stuff. And I just really loved being funny. Like I loved making people laugh. I loved Lucille Ball. We watched a lot of Benny Hill in my house, which is like ridiculous. You might not even be old enough to know who that is.
Well, I'm 52. I know Benny Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got a baby face. Yeah, I mean,
thank you.
You're welcome. You're supposed to say the same thing to me. I'm leaving. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm done. I'm out of here.
Yes. And for those reasons, I'm out. No, it's a lot of Saturday Night Live, a lot of just so much humor in our home. And I always loved stand-up. When I got a little older, I would watch all of those shows, right? There was like the half-hour comedy hour on MTV, and there was the Showtime show and Stand-Up Spotlight and all those shows. I saw all these comedians, but I didn't know how to do it. I didn't understand in my small town of Maine how do you even do that? And then I went away to college in Portland, Maine, and there was the Comedy Connection.
Okay.
And I just started going and hanging out there. I'd never been in like a live comedy club before. And then I had a bunch of friends and we went down to Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston, which back in the day was a huge like institution. And I just was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do this. And then I just started doing stand-up in a contest and never stopped. And so now that was like the late 90s. And now I'm still going strong. So
that is so, yeah, that's cool. So you, like most, got a taste of it and just never stood back and stopped, which I think is kind of part of that skill set, right? Like if that's really that first open mic or whatever, or the contest really will determine your fate insofar as like, will you keep going? Is that a fair statement? Now, obviously you wouldn't have known that you'd be working on cruise lines and opening for Kathleen Madigan. Like that was never, or maybe it was like, did you see somebody like that and go, I want to open for them someday? Was that like sort of a vision?
I think so. I mean, I think there were all these steps when I first started that I don't think that aren't there necessarily now, just because of the time it was. So there wasn't internet really per se, like or should I say stand up on the internet, and there wasn't streaming services. So it was, you saw a comic, you bought a ticket, you went to see them.
Yeah.
And then I would hope that one day I would be good enough to like host the show. And then maybe at some point, and I'm talking not in like in the outskirts, right? In these comedy clubs.
Sure.
And you go see a comedian in a theater and you think, wow, I wonder if I could ever play a theater. And so it's just kind of this progression, I think, of setting goals and then being hungry for whatever you'll get. No, that's like, I think you have to be somewhat driven just to perform and get as good as you can get.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then you realize that never stops. Like you're probably never as good as you're going to get, and if you think you're as good as you're going to get, you've probably like given up.
Yeah. No, I would say that's probably true. Like if you have a series of good shows and you're like, wow, I'm really good.
Yeah.
And you might, I think maybe in essence you might be, but then the goal, I've watched other comedians in interviews, and Cedric the Entertainer particularly was being interviewed by somebody in a green room while his opener was performing.
Okay.
And he even said in that conversation, he goes, do you hear those people laughing hard? I'm going to have to go out there and top that. And you could hear the laughter in the conversation. So really, like, I'm presuming, kind of fast forwarding now, when you're traveling with Kathleen and you're on stage and you're crushing it, she's probably thinking, okay, now I'm going to have to go out there. Maybe, I don't know. I've never met her or interviewed her, but she, the idea is kind of like, okay, I have to go out and do just as good as she did, if not better. Hopefully, if one of you has a bad set, both of you aren't having bad sets. So
it's funny that, so you brought up Kathleen. I always try not to, like, she's such a dear friend now. Like, so it's kind of, that story is just so bizarre to me because she is like comedy royalty. She wouldn't say that, but she is. And I remember being a young comic and like watching her and thinking, she's so fast, her storytelling's so great, the details, she paints a picture, I love that, she's like one of my favorite comedians. And then I met her at a comedy festival. We were both performing at a festival, and we were on the same show together, and we just kind of like hit it off. Like, she's just a normal person who is extremely funny and has put in the work, and she's always putting in the work. Like, she's always moving to the next thing. And I found that, this is like probably 15 years ago now, and I found that so inspiring because at that point I had been in for a really long time and I'd done some stuff. Like, I've never been like a household name. I want to be clear about that. But I've got a nice little resume, and I'm good at my job.
You have the receipts. You've put in the work.
I have a good resume. And so when she asked me to open for her the first time, I was like, well, I have to go and just like swing for the fences. She makes it feel and reminds me of, and this is why I share this, it reminds me of that feeling in the back of a club. It's like what you were just saying, where the person on stage is crushing and you hear them laughing and they're having so much fun. And if you just let yourself be in the moment, you're gonna do great. You'll be great because you want to ride the wave of what's happening on stage. So she's very particular about her openers. She uses like a few of us. And I mean, I think first and foremost, a lot of these folks that have been doing this for so long, they're like, you gotta be like an easy hang. Like, that's the first thing, because they're going city to city to city. And so the second thing is, like, she wants it to be an awesome show from lights down to lights up. And she wants you to like have a great set and set a nice table, and she's just going to go out and ride the wave. And that really taught me something about how to approach every show. I'm just going to go out and have fun and swing for the fences every single time, and realize that these people got off the couch to spend time with me. And so I want to make sure it's the best time possible.
Yeah. And I'm, now that you're friends, and good friends, you know, like you still want to maintain a standard, which I think is cool. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because
of course.
obviously these people are paying a lot of money to come see you guys in a theater setting. And like, it's a lot to get a babysitter, to pay for parking or
Right.
Ubering in and stuff like that. And yeah. And I think it's good that she probably is very selective, right? Because I'm sure, like, you know, when she comes to a town, and the booker or whoever's the showrunner, you know, like most situations would probably like, hey, do you need a host? Do you need a feature? And she's probably like, I've got it covered with people that I trust, you know, that are going to deliver and handle whatever audience you're performing in front of in whatever state, you know, because there's a lot that is taken into consideration when choosing to go somewhere. There's political climate, there's what's happening in the city, you know, and how are you, Kelly, going to be able to handle that? So it's like probably an unspoken trust, like just she knows that you're going to be able to do what you're supposed to do, right? And not too bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like she doesn't want you going out there and whiffing it. Like I think she's also really great about, and I found this with like, I opened for you know, I've been very fortunate and had the opportunity and the I don't want to call it luck, but kind of it is sometimes, right? You happen to live in the right place and they need someone.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that's fair.
Yeah. You know, I've opened for some really cool people that I'm not necessarily like friends with, but you get the phone call because they need someone, and through word of mouth, they're like, oh, she knows how to do a theater. She can set a stage for you or whatever it is. I always watch the show after because I love stand up. Like I love it. So if I've got this opportunity to watch from the wings and see someone crush it in a theater, it's the most delicious thing. And I've always loved it. And I think that also helps me be in the excitement of the show. Right. So they didn't pay to come see me at those big theaters when I'm opening for those folks. Especially Kathleen. Some of them know me because she has a very popular podcast, but it's like, and she talks about me sometimes on there. So some people know me or they've seen me with her before, but sometimes they're meeting me for the first time, and I would be a fool to like squander that opportunity to like really do well and maybe gain a new fan here and there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, I mean, because that's how I am familiar with you, seeing you open for her here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then like knowing like in Colorado, like at Comedy Works and stuff, but she is OG. Like she was last comic standing, like season 1, like, but the thing is she'd been doing it for so long, even prior to that.
Yeah.
And that was just an opportunity to get in front of us, you know, a network audience that had a large viewer base at that time prior to, you know, like America's Got Talent, where, you know, now there's different ways for people to be found. And you also mentioned something interesting too. Yeah. Like you're doing this before social media existed, before you had to like go on to your socials and sell tickets. Like I think gone are the days of going on morning radio to sell tickets. Like now, from what I'm told, a lot of these folks, like it's how many followers, how can you sell tickets to fill a room? And that's what a booker is looking at. But when you're traveling with Kathleen, it's a safe bet, right? They know she's going to sell out or at least come close to selling out. But then that helps you because then you gain new fans, right? And then when you're traveling, performing all over, people will come see you and bookers go, oh, she works with Kathleen. So we know she'll be able to fill a club, you know, with a few hundred people.
She does give me some street cred, I think, because she's, you know, she's like, she's OG. She's royalty in the comedy world. So it's like, they think, well, she must be, and she does pretty decent sized theaters. She's very old school in her thinking though, where she's like, I like a smaller baseline theater, like 2,000 seats is great. She's like, that's great. I feel like I can really connect with them in that space. And yeah, I'm very thankful for that opportunity every time I get to work with her. And also, she's just such a quality human being, like super fun
Yeah.
to be with. And she's exactly like you think she'd be. Like, that's,
Yeah, I've never had the chance to meet her. I've seen her perform. So let's talk about you. Now you're doing Norwegian Cruise Lines too. What was sort of the idea to go out on the cruise ship world? What kind of was your interest in that? Because I understand it pays well. It's a lot of work, and you work with other comedians too sometimes, and
yeah.
it's a built-in sort of experience, but I hear also can be challenging sometimes because you have to do like what 3 45-minute sets, clean, dirty, family. I know it's different in different locations. So
It's different on every single line. So I work for a few lines now that I'm on predominantly, which is good. The thing that kind of drove me to that, that sounds like I went mad. The thing that drove me, no, it was pandemic, to be honest with you.
yeah,
When we came back after the pandemic, I just wanted to perform and I wanted to make sure I was performing as much as possible.
yeah,
And at that point, I had just really kind of gotten myself into a place. I had a day gig for years, and I've been gone from that for, I don't even know, 11 or 12 years now. I've been just doing stand up and not worked in corporate America. So when the pandemic hit, was the first year that I was like, I'm actually like really doing great. So when we came back, I was like, I need a cruise agent because I need to make sure I'm working. So I don't hate it. I know a lot of people say, oh, I would never want to do that. Or I think the people that love just to perform, the whores, if you will, we love it. Like, I love it. I think the travel is grueling, definitely, and the audiences are great. I'm not jazzed about the family friendly, however, I can do it. And once you crack the code on it, it actually becomes way easier. I think you hear family friendly and you panic. And as soon as I figured it out, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this.
so you cracked the code and were able to find success.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was
yeah.
that for you that clicked and go, oh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between, I guess, working clean versus like doing like family friendly. Like, how did that happen for you, where you sort of cracked the nut and figured out you could really lean into that as a performer and have the success?
So I had played like family friendly. I'm in New England. I'm just outside of Boston. So, and I've been here for years. So it's, there's a lot of like campground work here and like summer communities and those types of gigs. So I had played a ton of gigs for like with kids in the audience. It's not like I'd never done it before. However, this is different, right? Like, this is a bigger paycheck. You want to make sure you're asked back, right? You don't want a bad comment card. You want to make sure you stay in the lane. And so what I figured out was, okay, I have to go into this with like a Disney mentality. Like a lot of the movies that Disney they put out, there's tons of stuff for kids. You know what I'm going to say, because you're a dad, right? Yeah. I'm a stepmom. So, and I got him when he was 8. So I've been doing the flex with this kid for years. He's 21 now. And I have to sneak in these adult jokes without saying anything that the kids will even pick up on.
Right.
So I kind of just figured that out. I grabbed all those bits that I already had, or some that I could work with, and I just kind of revamped them and tweaked them just a little bit. And then, now it just feels like, okay, it's family friendly. Now, with that said, I was just on a ship a couple weeks ago on a princess cruise, and I do a lot with them as well. Norwegian, Princess, Oceania, Regent, like no complaints on any of the lines, to be honest. I think they're all great, and the ocean is fantastic. But there were kids in my show playing cards. Like, the parents like set them up playing cards, so I could see them playing cards while I was performing. And I was like, it did. And I mean, I consider myself a pretty seasoned performer, but I found myself like looking over, just being like, they could care less than I am here. Like, I'm TV to them. Like, I might as well just be some documentary on
Right,
penguins,
exactly.
right? Like, only less cute, right? Because they were just like playing Uno or whatever, talking amongst themselves. And you on a cruise line, I have to just ignore it and act like it's not happening. And it's really hard. That part's really hard.
Yeah. Are you able to handle the late night crowds that come through? Like,
Yes.
say they're coming from the casino and then they're looking for something else to do at 10 o'clock at night. So they just kind of roll in.
Yeah, that's the other extreme, right? So the early show is that it's kids playing Uno. Your late show is people that are like, I'm on a boat. We'll never die. It's like those people.
They're like, hell yeah, man.
like,
Comedy
yeah.
at 11 o'clock at night after everything else is shut down.
Exactly. And this isn't how they roll normally. Like, this isn't their baseline, their modus operandi. So they're like losing it. They think they're someone they're not. So they're not handling themselves well. And then there's the middle show that is like people who are having cocktails and they just came from dinner, or they're going to a late dinner, and they are the middle, right? They're middle of the road. So it's kind of, I actually enjoy it because I feel like it's like a workout. Like, I'm like, okay, kids playing Uno, crying baby, old couple right in front of me. He's asleep. Great. Then I do the second show and I'm like, this feels better. Everybody seems to be on board. And then the late show, I always go early so I can watch them come in because I want to know what I'm dealing with before lights. So I'll be like, okay, I've got a crowd over there, but they're harmless. They just are all wearing the same caftan and making it all about them. I can handle that. It's really just being present and not putting it on autopilot, because I think that's where you're doomed if you go on autopilot in general.
Yeah.
In life.
Yeah.
That's a
I
life
think in
philosophy.
general,
yeah,
it is. Yeah. But it can also be dangerous too. I think an audience can tell if you're not engaged, right? If you're just there, just doing your normal thing. But then, like, when you watch somebody like Kathleen or Jerry Seinfeld or whoever, and it's an act that they're performing because that's her generation, even with the act where it's just like maybe a new thing or two, but it's like the same show, like it's the way that it's being done. You watch it and go, it's just so flawless, and you don't realize, unless you're familiar with stand-up, the years and hours of blood, sweat, and tears that go into the story that she's telling about her mom that you've heard a million times, like, or her dad, that's been crafted and worked on for decades, right? But she's telling it like it's just you and I having this normal conversation.
Absolutely. There's kind of a trick that I feel like I've learned over the years, just watching comedy in general, where it's like, for me personally, I do storytelling comedy. That's just better for me.
Yeah.
It just fits better, my style, more my actual personality. So I tend to gravitate towards comedians that are the same way, although I love all kinds of comedy. They're characters in your world, right? Like, it's almost like you're writing about these characters, and 9 times out of 10, they're real people, and names have been changed to protect the innocent or not, right? And you're just or not, and you're just kind of you're gonna just dial into the story about the time, right? And you've already crafted it. To your point, it's like you have to stay sharp when you are telling anything, no matter what venue. However, don't we all aspire to just, I don't know, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but for me, it's like there is something about watching stand-up in a theater where people are in the darkness all together as a unit, and the person on stage is just off and running. And there is no like disruptions. There's no heckling. There's no nonsense going on that you might see in a club or on a cruise ship. But I think there's a place for both of those things, and you should have both.
There
You should have
is,
both
yeah.
those things in your arsenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's something to be said about being in a club performing. I don't know, like if you've ever been to Colorado and performed. Well, yeah, you've been, I'm sure, with Kathleen and stuff, but
I haven't. I haven't done Colorado with Kathleen.
Yeah, Colorado, like the clubs here are a lot of fun because it's very small and intimate. And you, even with the wait staff going back and forth, you know, like the first time I saw a show in San Francisco at Cobb's, like my first real like experience, you look at that and go, just before even comedy was interesting, like you see all of that happening and you're like, how do you do it? And then you do it in a club where they're ordering drinks from their QR codes on their table. Like and it's just something to be said about the energy. Hence to my comment at the beginning, a very delusional driven career where you can have a really bad night and go, man, I did an amazing job. Or have a night that goes well and go, man, that is not how I wanted it to go. I forgot this tag, or I forgot this misdirect, or whatever it is your style is. I don't know, when you're starting out, like 5-10 minutes, not a lot of time to be had for telling a long story, but I think it can be done as long as you're on track and you know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not getting distracted by the light in the back, the timer ticking down. Cool. Couple questions. So for you and your experience, like what are some common missteps that you see younger comedians make, for better or for worse, kind of in your journey? It could be anything, like wanting too much too soon, or not being a good hang in a green room, whatever. I don't know. You pick, like something, maybe not a mistake, but just something that's like, could be something that you notice happening in your journeys.
So this is a really interesting question, because I just had this conversation with another comic not too long ago. We were talking about a comedian that is pretty famous, that we both admire and think they're wonderful, and they were always hungry for it, like always shooting high. And at the time, it was like, back in the day, we would be like, oh my gosh, like, do we have to eat, sleep, and breathe? Like stop doing bits, and like, you know, just, it's too much. I look back on that now and honestly feel like, and this might even just be me projecting like my own thought of what maybe I made a mistake, is that you should never not be trying for the big thing that you want. Like, I think that a lot of people that have been doing it a while will see a comic coming up the ranks, or like a newer comic, and they're like, oh, that kid is like just so hungry. Yeah, good. Stay hungry. Awesome. You should.
Well, you don't. Closed mouths aren't fed. So if you're not asking for it, regardless of what the answer may or may not be, maybe no, not now. You know, no one's going to give you anything, as long as you have your 5-minute tape and you're not being talked about as, you know, sort of obnoxiously annoying or a bad hang. That's one thing they should teach a class on, is green room etiquette.
Oh, for sure. That I will.
You know, they have this you have the stand-up classes. We'll teach a class on how to be a good hang. Good set, bad set, it doesn't matter. You need to be hanging out. No, when do I go sit at the table with the comics? Or when do I sit in the green room with the headliner, or do I just hang out in the hallway in the back? And then when it's time, go up on stage and go through the curtain. Like, they should teach classes on that, because those are the hard lessons to learn, I think.
I think that there's a lot to be said about just listening and paying attention. So if you go to work in an office and there are people there who have been working there forever and they know how to run their 9 to 5, you watch and see what other people do, right?
Exactly.
Like, you watch and see what happens. Like, oh, it's not okay to make personal phone calls, or it's fine, or whatever it is. This should be, it's no different, right? So
It's true.
for me, when I first started, the club owner in Portland, Maine, believe it or not, he's been in the comedy world forever, and he's a toughie. He's a pretty toughie. He's Oliver Keithley, and I'll just name drop him. I don't care. I have affection for him because he was so mean. He was so mean. And when he wasn't mean, it mattered. So I'm not saying people should be mean. I don't know if you've picked up on it or not, Brett. That's not really my disposition. So it's like, I feel like he was trying to get me to pay attention and to learn a lesson. And like, for example, one Saturday night, I was working the weekend and I was hosting, and the feature came in because very traditional 3-person show, host, middle, headliner.
Sure.
And I was all dolled up, right? Because I was like, gotta dress up. It's Saturday night, gotta dress up. And the feature walked in and he was wearing jeans at the club on a Saturday, and he was sent home. And he like embarrassed him and yelled at him and was like, why are you wearing, what are you doing? Like, what are you thinking? Well, you better go home and change. And he's like, I don't think I have time to go home and change. He's like, well, then Kelly's going to have her first opportunity to just be the host and the feature. So I would hurry back. I'd hurry up. And I was like, first of all, I have 10 minutes, so probably you should get on it. And second of all, it was like so mean. And also, it's rare that I'm not dressed up on stage, just because I was like, it like stuck with me. And I think just paying attention and listening, you'll learn how to fit in. And if you're not super outgoing and you're like, I'm not really here to make like my new best friends, but you love stand up, then listen, pay attention, watch the show. I do think there's a lot to learn from any comic that is in the green room. And there's
I mean, the lineup's right there.
Yeah.
So if the host or if the headliner comes in and everybody kind of just leaves, well, then that's probably a good indicator to just go hang out in the back, or sit in a seat somewhere, or just be out of the way of the staff, when you're coming up. So you kind of can feel your internal clock going, okay, absolutely. I should probably head back and at least go into the backstage area and wait. Or if you see, the owner come through and the owner's on their phone and they're just doing business, probably not a good time to chat the owner up of the club and be like, hey, do you have any spots this weekend? I mean, there's ways to go about all of that stuff. So classes, that should be a class on just how to, but you make a good point. Like, it's like working in an office. Like you see how people are, usually if people have their cell phones put away in their desks, then don't have your cell phone out. Or if people are sort of just eating their lunch on the fringe, eat your lunch on the fringe, but then when the show's over and everybody's like, hey, we made it, you know what I'm saying? Then if everybody's hanging out, just kind of hang out, Cool
There's
stuff.
There's definitely something to be said about like watching stand-up, good stand-up, bad stand-up, great stand-up. You're going to learn something if you watch someone else perform. I mean, we've been doing that since we were babies. Like, that's how you learn how to do it your way, is you watch other people and you figure out how you enjoyed it, how you saw them prepare, how you saw them execute. And then you can kind of learn something from them of how you want to do it. And I think that's really important too. And be nice to the staff. That's always
nice to the staff. Oh, for sure. Because they're the eyes and ears of the club. They will get back to a club owner faster than you might realize if you're rude.
And also the customer. You want the customers, the audience. They're taking care of the audience. So they're doing their part. You should do yours. Everybody needs to work together.
I mean, I've even heard stories of people opening or hosting for celebrity headliners, whatever. And sometimes they don't even see that person. They just show up, do their set, and then leave, or at least hang out until the show's over, but they might not have any interaction at all with the headliner, just because of it's a job. Like, you're there to do a job, and if someone's focused on their set, they've got 5,000 people in the audience
Right.
that have paid $30, $40, $50 to see them perform. It's a job. Very good stuff. So you're back from your cruise. Are you back out on the road with Kathleen? What does the rest of your summer and fall look like?
Yeah, I have some cruise ships that I'm working on. I'm also out with Kathleen. We're in Indiana, and yeah, it's on my website. So, and on hers, obviously. And then I have a few, like, I'm bopping around the Northeast a little bit when I'm not out on the seas, out on the ship. I have a special that's out on YouTube that I put out myself that I like self-funded, self-produced, and it's super fun. So I've been putting clips out from that. So I have a whole new batch of those clips coming out, and people can find me there. And typically my Instagram always has my schedule. I'm always putting shows out there. So hopefully I'll see someone at a show.
Booked and busy. Yeah. Well, if you're ever in Colorado, give it a shout. We'll come watch you perform. So
100%. Yeah.
thousands of places to perform. Well, thank you, Kelly, for your time, and for everybody who's been watching and listening. And yeah, we appreciate you, Kelly. Thanks for hanging out. It means a lot that you said yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah.